Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're looking at a morning that honestly might just go down as the single most explosive day in modern tech history, May 7, 2026. Usually, we see maybe one industry-shaking headline a month, right? But today, 6 massive stories hit the wire literally at the exact same time. We aren't just looking at new gadgets here. We are watching a massive transfer of power across the entire tech ecosystem. Because I want you to keep one big question in the back of your mind as we go through today's explainer. What happens when 6 tech empires are shaken to their core on the exact same morning? These aren't just isolated news items. This is a cohesive domino effect of disruption, and it is completely rewriting the rules for corporations, creators, and consumers alike. Okay, let's just dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the PlayStation Time Machine, move into robots entering your home, examine the fall of Google, unpack Nintendo's brutal revenge, witness the creator economy rebellion, and finally, we'll look at a massive win for the right to repair. It's a really packed agenda, so let's get right to it. All right, number 1, the PlayStation Time Machine. We're seeing a massive power shift toward gaming preservation. So this all kicked off with a stunning leak confirming the PS6 is going all in on backward compatibility. Sony and Panasonic have actually co-developed this wild hybrid optical drive utilizing 3 distinct lasers to read everything from original PS1 CDs to PS3 Blu-rays. But the craziest part is that it doesn't stop at just reading the discs. The PS6 uses a hardware-accelerated translation system combined with an AI engine called PSSR 2.0. That means it totally bypasses traditional buggy emulation and runs your physical legacy discs natively at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. It literally reconstructs the textures on the fly. And that brings us to this absolutely staggering number. Over 20,115 games are suddenly instantly accessible again. This is a massive strategic strike against Xbox, which, as we know, has long championed backward compatibility, but strictly digitally. By supporting physical media, Sony has effectively brought thousands of games back to life. And the market reaction was basically instant. Prices for classic retro games on eBay have already skyrocketed by up to 500% overnight as collectors are just rushing to grab physical copies. Moving on to number 2, robots enter your home. This is a massive shift in labor power. Boston Dynamics is officially making the leap out of the warehouse and right into your living room. In the exploding $150 billion home robotics market, they're coming out swinging. Atlas Home comes in at an incredibly competitive $15,000, completely undercutting both Tesla's Optimus and the Figure 02. Powered by a custom GPT-5 model, this thing can cook, it can clean, and it can provide elderly care with natural language interaction. I mean, when you consider a full-time human caregiver costs upwards of $50,000 to $70,000 a year, a one-time $15,000 investment is an absolute market disruptor. And clearly the public agrees. That initial batch of 500 units sold out in exactly 12 seconds. Right now, social media is totally flooded with viral unboxing videos of these robots, helping the elderly stand up or, absolutely destroying them at chess. But jokes aside, this signals a profound impending disruption for the 4 million workers in the U.S. home care industry. The age of home robotics isn't just coming, it is officially here. Story number 3, the fall of Google. This is the generational information shift. Look, we might literally be watching the end of a 2-decade empire here. For the very first time in any demographic, Google has lost its #1 spot. Among Gen Z users, so those under 25, OpenAI's search engine now commands a 52% market share. Young people are just no longer willing to click through pages of blue links. They're spending an average of 8 minutes per session interacting with conversational AI to get direct, comprehensive, ad-free answers. The financial fallout from that, Alphabet lost $80 billion in market value basically overnight. Google is currently trapped in what analysts call the innovator's dilemma. Their entire business model relies on you clicking ads. If they pivot to providing direct AI answers like OpenAI does, they cannibalize their own core revenue stream. It is a strategic nightmare for them, and the generational clock is ticking loudly. All right, number 4, Nintendo's brutal revenge. This brings up a really intense fight over digital ownership. To ground this segment, I want to share a statement from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a prominent digital rights advocacy group. They stated, quote, "This is a dangerous precedent, a fundamental threat to consumer ownership rights," end quote. We are stepping into some extremely murky legal waters here regarding the intentional destruction of consumer property by a manufacturer. So here's the timeline of how this went down. Nintendo pushed out a mandatory background firmware update that deeply scanned consoles for over 200 custom firmware signatures. It found the update actively rewrote code to permanently brick the motherboard's bootloader. It renders the console completely dead. We are talking about up to 500,000 consoles globally, which translates to an estimated $175 million in destroyed consumer property. Naturally, critics are comparing this to a malware-like tactic. It sparked immediate class action lawsuits in the US, and it really forces us to ask the ultimate question. Do you actually own the hardware sitting in your house, or are you just licensing it?
That brings us perfectly to number 5, the creator economy rebellion. Power is shifting directly back to the creators.
Speaking of control, we are seeing an absolute earthquake in digital media. Just think about some of the heavyweights involved here. MrBeast, PewDiePie, Marquise Brownlee, Linus Tech Tips. The biggest names in online video are actively pulling their combined 600 million subscribers away from YouTube. They formed Creator Co., an independent, decentralized streaming platform. They are simply tired of arbitrary algorithm changes that can destroy their reach and the revenue literally overnight. And the why here boils down to pure economics. In YouTube's centralized model, the platform keeps 45% of the ad revenue. Creator Co., on the other hand, operates as a decentralized autonomous organization, or a DAO. Creators keep 90% of their revenue, which is then bolstered by direct subscriptions and exclusive NFTs. This is a highly organized, blockchain-powered effort by creators to take back control of the $250 billion creator economy. And if they succeed, it could end up costing YouTube up to $10 billion annually.
Finally, our 6th story of the day, winning right to repair, putting power squarely back in the hands of the consumer.
Congress just passed the Federal Right to Repair and 3D Print Act. Let's break down what this actually forces tech giants to do. For any non-electronic part, say a laptop hinge or a phone case, companies must now, by law, publish the exact 3D CAD files for free. They have to tell you the material specs, provide step-by-step installation guides, list the required tools, and even provide the optimal settings for your 3D printer. The economic ripple effect of this is staggering. I mean, Apple alone pulls in around $8 billion a year just from repairs and spare parts. That revenue stream is now under severe threat because you can just print a replacement part at home on a $200 3D printer, hopefully without gluing your fingers together in the process. Unsurprisingly, stocks for consumer 3D printer companies like Prusa and Bamboo Lab have already soared by 40%. This law totally democratizes access to parts, reduces electronic waste, and shifts billions of dollars from corporate repair centers straight back into the pockets of everyday people.
So as we wrap up this explainer on the historic events of May 7th, 2026, I really want to leave you with this one thought. From the PlayStation 6 preserving our physical past, to robots reshaping our homes, to Gen Z ditching Google, to the fierce battles over console ownership and creator independence, one thing is absolutely clear. The technology of tomorrow is already here. But as these massive shifts unfold, who truly holds the power moving forward? Is it the creators, the corporations, or is it you? I highly encourage you to keep exploring these topics because the landscape of digital ownership is quite literally changing by the second. Thank you so much for joining me on today's explainer, and I'll catch you next time.